After 10 months of hovering over my head, I've put the hardtop on the car. So here it is in all its glory. The first thing that I noticed was that it interfered with the brake master cylinder. So I had to cut a notch out so that wasn't resting on the bottle. Talking to the guys in the forums, it's a common issue. Everybody else just kind of cuts it out for it too. There's the clutch cylinder under there also, that smaller bottle. So I'll have to cut away more, but just so I can put the hardtop down, I started with that one small cut. So I will make that larger so I can reach the caps and fill those up a little bit easier. So where the hardtop attaches up on the A-pillar is by these two bolts right here on this metal bracket. And there's holes in the black part that are slotted so you can slide the hardtop forward and back, and then obviously there's holes allow you to go up and down. But I was maxed out in the adjustment and I still had a large gap at the B-pillar and everything was bunched at the trunk. So I actually had to slot those holes maybe another ½ inch, pretty decent amount, so I could slide the whole hardtop forward more. And by doing that, I closed up this gap quite a bit. This looks significantly better. This gap right here used to be massive. This seam tightened up, and then back here at the rear bumper, you can see these two are a little more flush right here, and I'll have to address this gap that I created later. I can make some bracket to pull it tighter. Another area that this front mount adjustment helped me with was under the A-pillar, kind of where the driver's side mirror is. And this gap was huge when I first put the top on. So allowing me to slide forward and push the top down allowed me to close this gap up a little bit. But as of right now, I can't go any lower or I'll hit the door under here. So I don't think I want to go any lower, because I'll have to move the entire top more forward and then the rear bumper gets out of whack. So I think this is where it'll stay. I know the kit has you mount the mirror in this gap. There's a large metal bracket that goes in here, so I think there is supposed to be a decent gap. I think this is still too big, but I don't think it's that far out of the kit's specifications. I still have some work to do on this corner. The fender itself isn't sitting on its bracket yet. It interferes with the A-pillar right there. I got another ½ inch down to go, so that'll probably get some trimming. The door was interfering on the lower part of the fender, down in this gap. So I did trim that away. Kind of see my cut mark there. Trimmed that away. So it's just a little bit of clearance for the door open. In the last video, I talked about cutting these vents bigger. So this is what it looks like after I cut it out a little bit more. And I really like the look of this now. I didn't like the mesh that came with the kit. And I didn't like the hole that it left if I didn't use the mesh. So this, I just kind of cut wider, deeper, rounded it out. You may have noticed that the gas tank cap is on too. So I got that plumbed up. It just runs straight down into the back of the fuel tank. And I do plan to get this powder coated or painted black later. I don't want to leave it silver because nothing else in the car is silver. Just this and the button that releases the hatch. It'll go right here. Haven't put it on yet, but those are like the two only silver things on the car. Here's the chrome latch they give you for the rear hatch. So it pops open, you spin this top part, and that black piece on the bottom retracts. and that allows the hatch to open. I ordered a black one, but the one that arrived was defective, so I'm waiting for a replacement. The rear hatch came oversized. It didn't actually fit in the opening, so I had to do a lot of sanding and fitment to get it in there. And now it's much better. Underneath, you put a weather strip down, see along the edge. And here's the little keeper for the latch. I don't have the latch on yet, but it'll lock under that lip. All the body panels are getting a liner inside. So you see it's black now instead of the chalky, glassy fiberglass. I'm using Raptor bed liner. It is pricey. It was, I think, close to $140 for 4 1-quart bottles. But it's nice that they break it up into 4 bottles for you so you don't waste the entire batch. Because once you mix it up, you only have 1 hour to use it. So the first bottle, I was able to get the side pods done, the big rear fender and side skirt. I did both of those in 1 hour, barely. And then the second bottle, I was able to do both fenders and the rear bumper. Again, I used the entire hour. I could not use all the liner quick enough. I got all 3 panels coated, but I still had some left over. So I think spraying would definitely be faster and a better use of the liner, but it might be difficult for some people like me, so I'm just speed brushing, just slathering on there and pushing it around as fast as you can to try and coat it. And it still worked out pretty well, so I would recommend this stuff. It is nice. Here's the chrome hood pins that come with the Factory 5 kit. I know some people love the racing look of it, but for me I want something a little sleeker. So I went ahead and bought some quick latches. And this is just a little black push button that'll go in those locations I just showed you on the car. So all you'll see is this black top, and you push the button down and it pops open. So I think these will be a little sleeker, flush. You don't have the pins bouncing around, scratching your paint, making noise. So I'm gonna give these a shot. A lot of guys said that they've used these on their cars and they had no issues at 100 miles per hour. And funny enough, somebody had said on the track they had trouble with these over 110. So he said at 110 miles per hour, a couple on his hood were popping open. But that won't be an issue for me because I will be putting a hinge on the front of the hood. And only have to use these latches in the back. So I don't need to worry about the wind getting under the front of the hood and prying these open. If anything, the wind is pushing the hood down some on top, so I think we'll be good with these. I guess I'll let you know if they fail. One thing to mention is with the seats I chose kind of street racing seats versus like a hardcore fixed racing seat or thin racing seat. So mine are a little thicker, and I don't have a lot of room in this car. I know it's a small car. I'm only 5'9" and 160 pounds, so I'm not the biggest guy. And when I had my seat put in here, I had just a couple fingers of space above my head before the roof. And the seat barely fit through the doorway under the wheel on this side. It was kind of difficult to get in, but it did get in, it fit. I will replace the steering wheel with a thinner as in doesn't stick out as far towards your chest, and smaller diameter wheel. So that'll give me a little more space to get the seat in and myself. with the seat in, it's actually still pretty challenging to get me in there. So just a forewarning, if you're a decent height or a little bigger, you may want to consider a thin seat, because I did mount mine directly to the cross braces underneath the floor, or on the floor. So I can't mount mine any lower, and head space and body space just in general is at a premium.